Hello, welcome to Football Journeys, a B5 Consultancy podcast presented by me, Matt Himsworth.
And me, Fraser Franks. Football Journeys is a podcast that ignores the glitz and the glamour of the beautiful game in favour of the pain, the graft and the rejection.
For my part, I've been a media lawyer for nearly 20 years now, and I work with clubs and I work with players to help protect their reputation, their privacy, but ultimately it's about protecting the well-being of the young men and women that go through that journey through the game that we love.
And for me, I've been through that journey. I was an academy player at Chelsea and Brentford before setting on a career in the lower leagues with the likes of Luton Town, Stevenage and Newport County, before my career ended at the age of 28 owing to a heart defect.
B5 Consultancy is about combining that experience to help players young and old to make good decisions off the pitch, but also to be there to support players when life doesn't go according to plan.
In this series, we're talking to Liverpool FC's class of 2013-14. Those lads that came through that famous academy at Kirby but didn't quite make it through to realise their Anfield dream.
This is Football Journeys. This week we're on Zoom. Owing to the coronavirus restrictions, particularly within football, we've been unable to meet our guest in person. Our guest is Sergi Canos, a player brought over to Liverpool's academy at the age of 16 when he was signed from the academy of Spanish giants Barcelona. He came over to England barely speaking a word of English and initially struggled to adapt to life on Merseyside. However, his quality and his character quickly shone through, as did his English. He was always set for big things and announced himself in senior football with a hugely successful loan spell with the Championship side Brentford at the age of just 18. This spell saw Jurgen Klopp hand him his Premier League debut at the age of 19 on the final day of the 2015-16 season. And just a few months after that, he was sold to Norwich City in a multi-million-pound move. But things didn't go according to plan. After just 6 months with the Canaries into a 4-year deal, he returned to Brentford on a permanent basis, where he has become a key player and a fan's favourite in recent years. We caught up with Sergi as he was edging closer back to fitness after suffering a long-term knee injury. He is now back playing regularly in the Championship with Brentford. We begin with Sergi telling us about his early years in Spain.
I used to play for Espanyol for a little bit, Espanyol de Barcelona. I played for them for 6 months. I was only 11, 12. I used to go with them to tournaments. They used to play in all around Spain. And because I was so young, my mom didn't let me go and live to Barcelona. They had a small residence in the city center in Barcelona, but they were all the players that were there were older than me. Like all of them were like 16, 17, 18. I know it's not that old, but when you are 11 and you mix up with big boys, it's really, there is a big difference. So my mom didn't let me go. So I used to go to tournaments, train in Castellón. I don't know if you know the city. I'm from Nules, but I used to play in Castellón. So it's 300 kilometers from Castellón to Barcelona.
Wow.
Yeah.
How so did your mum drive you?
My dad used to drive, yeah. Yeah. And it was I started playing tournaments, but then it got more serious, so they wanted me to play the league also. So I used to train in Castellón for Monday to Friday, and then Friday night, my dad and me, and sometimes my mom, because I have a small sister. We used to travel to Barcelona 3 hours by car, play on Saturday, and then come back 3 hours again to home. So we did that for 6 months, and I was only 12.
Yeah, wow, that's a massive commitment. So when the Barcelona opportunity came about, was that the idea that you would stay within the camp?
Yeah, well, Espanyol had a lot of changes between there were a lot of changes, the president and the chairman, and so everything. So they forgot about me because I was only 12, a kid from Castellón, only 12 years old. And Barcelona came and we said, well, if Espanyol didn't say anything, so we went to Barcelona. And because it was Barcelona, my mom let me go because it was Barcelona, La Masia. I started playing football since I'm 5 years old, and I used to play with when I was 5 years old, I used to play with kids 7, 8, and my mom always said, "You are only gonna you're always gonna stay at home. You're always gonna stay home." But then she started, "If Barcelona comes, then you can go." And then Barcelona came.
I don't know how true it is because I looked on Wikipedia and I think it said that Valencia, you had the option of Valencia, Atletico Madrid.
Yeah. Before choosing Barcelona, we went and see the Atletico Madrid facilities. We went to see Valencia facilities, Villarreal also. So now I think of it, and I was a kid, like 13 years old, with all these big clubs in my head. My dad wanted Barcelona. I wanted a little bit Atletico Madrid because I had some friends there, and I always liked the stadium and that. And my mom, Barcelona, so I was in a mix of also Valencia because we supported Valencia for so long, and we used to go to Mestalla every weekend to watch the team play. But then we went to La Masia and we fell in love with Barcelona, and we chose Barcelona, and I think it was the best decision. It was the last year of the La Masia next to the Camp Nou. I don't know if you know, There is a small house.
Mm-hmm.
So there were 4 kids from basketball and 6 kids from football. And they were the youngest because the other ones, the older ones, they were in some apartments inside the Camp Nou. So they said, this is the last year, they said to my parents, this is the last year your kid is going to live here because we are building a big residence in the training ground. That's where they live now. But I'm glad that I was one of those kids, of the 10 kids that lived the last year of La Masia. So I had that experience.
Wow. And so you did that for 3 years until you were 16?
Yeah, well, I stayed there for 1 year, and then we moved to the training ground, and I stayed 2 more years there.
And this is a difficult question because how can you sum up 3 years at Barcelona? But what was the experience like of being at a place like that?
Well, the experience is every training we were it became from enjoying football to more professional, a lot more professional, and we were kids basically. But every touch, what I learned in Barcelona was I said it was the best decision because what I learned in Barcelona, I don't think I could have learned it anywhere else with the coaches that I had the pleasure to be with, because we were kids of 14, 15 years old, but the tournament, the bats, putting the Barcelona kid every day to go and train and to go and play, it was something else. Mm-hmm. And that how the coaches transmitted that to the players, to the kids, was amazing. Every touch, every drill, 2 touches, boom, 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 boom. I used to hear the ball, and it was beautiful. Kids playing football, but we were like angels. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. Every day was amazing.
And what about your teammates? I mean, playing against you and all your teammates were the best in Spain at the time, I guess. So it must have been great to have great players alongside you.
Yeah, we had a really good team. But not everyone got to the level that everyone expected. At my age, I think we used to go 6-7 players to the national team, and now Ferran had some knee problems. The only one that is a good level, I think, is Carlos Alañá, that he's playing for Real Betis on loan from Barcelona, and Julio Pleguezuelo, he is now at 20. He used to be at Arsenal. We had a lot, very good players, but unfortunately, everyone had their own issues, and to be where I am now, or to be in a really good level, I think you have to got talent, but you have to be lucky also, I think.
If you could reverse the aging process, you could really enjoy the academy journey a bit more, because actually the academy is a great thing, really.
It was an amazing thing. I mean, what I was living there and living with my teammates and going to school with my teammates, coming back, having lunch, and then go and train, come back, study, like the facilities that we had in Barcelona. I don't think you know until you are older and you think of it. I think the kids that are there, they don't know how lucky they are. Yeah. They don't know what like how amazing their life will be thanks to what they're living now.
Yeah. Did you ever miss home when you were there?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes I remember when the first night that I was in Barcelona, and the first training, I trained with the team, and I was 13, I think, at that time. And at night, I called my dad, and I said, "Come and pick me up." Crying, I was crying. "Come and pick me up. I'm not good enough to be here. I'm not good." And my dad said, "Relax. Tomorrow will be a new day." And then he was right. Like 3 days later, we had a friendly game, and I scored 3 goals. So everything. But the first day, I wanted to leave. But then, after, when I went to La Masia, my mom always says that when they left me, my mom expected me to cry a little bit, and she said, "Well, so this is your home now, and this is where you're gonna be." And I said, "Yeah, okay." And I went to play ping pong with my teammates, and my mom started crying because she was like, "I'm crying, and I will miss you, and you just like that." But yeah, you don't realize you're a kid, I guess.
Yeah. Like you said that thing about not being good enough, and that's another thing that comes through with academy players, is all of you boys were used to being the best player at your school and your local team.
Yeah.
And then you go there, like all Liverpool or Barcelona or wherever are great as well.
Yeah, when that was the thing, it was such a big step, because when I was playing for Castellón, I used to score, I think, 80 goals per season, 88 goals. I think my first with Nules, my first season with Nules, I scored 113 goals, and I was 10, I think, 10 or 9, 10. So from that, go to Barcelona and train with players or with kids that have been in Barcelona for 5-6 years.
Yeah.
The first passing drill, it's so quick, boom, 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 boom. If you miss a touch, they look at you like, who is this new guy?
I watched the documentary, and they showed their under 9s and under 10s training, and it's just ridiculous. Like
it is. It's unbelievable, and the kids are so good, so good.
How did the move sort of come around then when you were 16 and you end up at Liverpool?
Well, there was it started with Héctor Bellerín and John Toral going from Barça to Arsenal, and there was a big thing going around. Like, everyone wanted to have that chance to go, and from here in England, everyone thinks, I would love to play for Barcelona. But in Spain, everyone is thinking, oh my God, I would love to go abroad and test myself in big clubs like Liverpool, Chelsea. So
Fabregas started that, didn't he?
Yeah, Fabregas started. But from Fabregas to Hector and John, it was a big gap. There were a lot of years, so I think people maybe forgot a little bit. And when Hector and John went to Arsenal, Barcelona was so angry at Barca because they stole some kids, because you can't force a kid to stay at Barca because we were 16. So it all started with that. And then Julio Pleguezuelo also had this chance to go to Arsenal. Also, Josimar Quintero, I don't know if you know, he moved to Chelsea, but I don't know where he is now. I don't know if he's playing football. And then I wanted to leave. I didn't want to leave, but if an opportunity like this came, I knew I was going to take it.
Did you feel the pathway would be easier to first team football if you went to England?
Yes, yeah. Because I said it always, that I wouldn't be where I am now if I didn't leave Barca. Because Barca has a very, very difficult structure. Like, if you are under 18, you have to play for the under 18, unless you are, I don't know, Leo Messi. You know, if you are Messi, then you can do whatever. But if you are under 18, you have to play for under 18s. If you are under 19s, you play for under 19s. If you are under 21, you play for the under 21s. So I saw my dad and me and, well, my family, we thought maybe if we go to Liverpool was talking about first team trainings, under 21s football, things that were exciting me, like were very excited. I was very excited. So yeah, it was easy because I was ending contract with Barca, and then this opportunity came, and then we said, okay.
Did you have other options? Were there other English clubs?
Yeah, but we focused on we mainly focused on Liverpool, because at that time Rodolphe Bourret was at Liverpool. So my dad had a little bit of relationship with him through a friend, and they spoke, and he was a very nice guy, and he said there were plenty of opportunities here in England. I could take my family, my sister, my little sister, and start a new life. Because in Spain, I don't know if you know, but there was a big crisis in Spain at that time, like economic big crisis, and my dad lost his job, my mom lost her job, and we thought, okay, so this will be a new start also for a family. But obviously, I was 16 and I didn't know
it's big
how
pressure.
big.
It's big pressure on a 16-year-old.
How big that the step was for my family and for me.
And they all came over, and am I right that they opened a restaurant in Liverpool?
Yeah, we came. We came to England and we opened a restaurant 2 years later.
Right.
2 years later, yeah. 2 years later, we opened a restaurant that is not open right now. We closed it. Well, I closed it because my mom and dad split.
Oh no.
So yeah, well, my family in my life was a little bit strange, but yeah, we closed it because my dad and mom split, and it was creating me more problems than, so I didn't want to go to train and do what I loved the most and be thinking about a restaurant in Liverpool.
And so did one of them stay in England and the other didn't, or both stayed?
Yeah, my mom and sister, they stayed in Liverpool because my sister and my mom, they love Liverpool. They are in love with the city, with the people. And my sister she just finished the A-levels and she has applied for some universities in England. So she's proper English now.
Wow.
What was the adjustment going from that Spanish culture to, being surrounded by, what was the accent like firstly?
Yeah.
Did you understand people?
I came to England and I knew nothing, nothing of English, nothing at all. Like, I remember my first conversation with a taxi driver that we are very good friends with now, David, and he said, "How are you, lad?" And I was like, I didn't know what to say, and then at that time I was like, oh my god, okay, I don't know anything of English, because I thought I knew. But then he said, hello, how are you? And I was lost.
Your English is amazing now, Sergi. It's a real
The
credit.
thing.
Yeah,
You
absolutely
think so?
brilliant.
You're easier to
Thank you.
understand than the Scouse lads we've had on this week.
Yeah.
More
Oh
difficult.
my god.
Yeah.
So imagine coming from Spain and knowing no English, and go into a dressing room of
Yeah.
Jordan Rossiter, Jordan Williams, Tom Browett, Brian Kent, Harry Wilson, Shea Ojo, Jerome Sinclair. Oh my god, they all were talking, and he was like, oh my god. I once, after 6 months, I said to my English teacher, I'm never gonna be involved in any conversation. Like, it's not possible. It won't be possible. It's so difficult. I want to like be part of the group, but it's impossible because they speak so quick, and they have also their languages, like their words, and I don't know. It was, but now I'm glad I can.
Did you find yourself quite isolated, and like, did you feel quite lonely when you first moved
Well,
there?
I didn't. Luckily, I didn't, because Rafa Paez was there, a Spanish lad. He used to play for the under-21s, and Pedro Chiribella also.
Yeah.
So we were together all the time.
Yeah.
So it was good. Thank God, Pedro used to go in Spain. Used to go to a British school or something like that. So he knew English perfect.
Oh, okay.
So every time I needed something, I could ask him. I didn't feel very, because I like to do the things on my own. I didn't like it to be always like depending on someone, but at that time I had to.
And we chatted to Louis Robles, of course, and he.
Also he helped me so much also.
But I think you might have helped him with his Spanish as well, because obviously he grew up in Liverpool. His dad's from Madrid.
Yeah.
And it was when he was in America he met lots of Spanish boys, and that's why he ended up going and playing in the Spanish leagues. And for him, it was like reclaiming his dad and his Spanish ethnicity and all of that. The one thing is, he speaks really highly of you and the call, but of course, guys like you coming in were the reason that he ended up leaving as well. That's why it's a really difficult situation to be at an academy, isn't it? It's a competition with each other.
Football is sometimes there are like big lows, like there are a lot of highs and like amazing moments, but also football sometimes is so hard on people. And with Luis, it was hard because he never got the chance to show himself. And we came from Spain and we thought we had a good relationship with him, and he was helping us so much and being around us and all that. But then at the same time, we were playing and he was on the bench, and he used to play the year before. And because two Spanish lads came from Spain and they come from Valencia and Barcelona, the kid that has been here in Liverpool since young, like since a kid, now is on the bench because they're giving opportunities to other people. So I felt quite bad for him because he's one of the nicest lads I ever met. But also, at that time, you don't know. You are only 16. You play for fun. You play because you love football. But you realize after how difficult it was for him.
It sounds though you felt as though you were treated with respect, but did you feel any jealousy from the English boys?
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yes, because, well, I say it now because we are older, and I don't regret anything. Like I loved my time at Liverpool, and I met some great people. And now when I see Shea or when I see Ryan or Harry doing well, I'm so happy for them. If Tom, we are in contact through Instagram and that. But sometimes it's difficult. Like when you are kids sometimes are mean and sometimes make things that they don't want to do, and you think of it after when you are old, and you are like, why did I do this? Why did I do that? Sometimes they had their own group, and it was difficult to, like, but nah, nothing. Sometimes.
And talk to us about signing a professional deal. And so you would have spent time at Melwood. You would have played with some great players at Melwood.
Yeah.
And also you sign a professional deal. Dare I say, money is a real issue at that point. You become a wealthy young man. How did you cope with that?
Well, luckily I had my family with me, and it was the only earnings that we had at that time. It was my salary. So I said to my dad, as long as the deal is good and we can live like a good life here all together, and Judith, my sister, can go to school, and we have everything we want, then it's cool. Then so we sign it.
Must be something looking back you can be really proud of, knowing that you almost carried a family, and then you've also seen your sister grow up and do her A-levels in Liverpool, and that's all because of your ability and like your desire to be a player.
Yeah, but
achievement.
Yeah, but I never thought, like, where I am now, it's amazing. Like, it's a great achievement, but I never thought I could live this life, like play football, help my family. For me, it was natural. Like the goals I scored, or the things that I was doing at Melwood, or it was natural. Like, it was fun. It was my thing. Like, play football. I never thought of carrying a family, or like maybe because I was a kid, but my only thinking was to play football. And I think that now I think of it, and it's great, because if I thought of all that I think now, like, or if I don't play on Saturday, they are not going to renew my contract, and then my family, where that would, oh my God, I would have died with all these thoughts. So luckily I didn't think of it.
Yeah.
Is there a certain amount, Sergi, that you and your family were Team Canos? Because they drove you all over Spain for games. They came with you to Liverpool. You were all part of a team. You were the one with the skill to play football, which made all that money. But without them, I guess you weren't that team, and
No, exactly.
would have panicked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's why we are a family that we are very familiar. We are back also. Not only my mom, my dad, and my sister helped me to be a footballer. Also, my uncle Antonio, my granddad that now is like in the sky. My grandma, everyone helped me so much because when my dad couldn't take me to Barcelona, then my uncle took me, and when my dad needed some company, then my uncle Jose was with him, and when my mom couldn't come to Barcelona because my sister had a birthday party or something, or anything, then we used to go by train, or like all the family. We've been always like a team, like you said, and that's thanks to them. It's where I am now, and we are all enjoying my football because everyone played their part.
This is one of the things we want to get across, is like, as a normal football fan, you don't see any of this kind of stuff, and a lot of the football interviews and things that I've seen, not a lot go into like, how you actually become the player you become, with like the family behind it, the sacrifices that they make. So
in my family there were a lot of sacrifices, a lot for me to be where I am now. And they are sometimes they do it also, because when I had this problem with my knee and I had to get an operation, my uncle Antonio, because my mom was here in England, I went to Spain because I had to see the Dr. Cugat in Barcelona. So I went to Spain, and the first one that got the train ticket, it was my uncle Antonio. So it's like I'm always with someone, and I can count with someone always. Like I'm not alone, you know, and it's so amazing.
Yeah, I'm writing that down. I'm not alone. I love that, and that's what human beings need, just to feel loved and wanted and cared for. And I love that a lot.
Because when I go out and play, and I'm in the dressing room and I'm putting my boots on, the only thing I can think of, and it's I'm playing for them. Also, I play for the fans and I play for the club, but I play for my mom and my sister that are in the crowd, and I wave at them when we go out, and I play for my friends, my family that are watching on iFollow or Sky Sports if we play on Sky Sports. So that's my motivation, because they always worked so hard for me to enjoy football. So now they are enjoying what football is about, what the fans, what the TV, the man of the match. So I want them to enjoy also.
That brings us quite nicely to Brentford, because of course your first spell at Brentford was massively successful, and now you're back at Brentford. And I know from being around the club, and actually I went to see you play and sat with all the families, and I saw your mum and your sister watching the game.
Yeah.
You are loved at Brentford, and I presume that meant a lot to your family. I mean, tell us about the loan move, first of all.
Well, the loan move was unbelievable, because I was only 18 and I went to a championship club, and I don't know, it was quite like boom. I went to the training ground, and I don't know, like Alan George, Maka, Harley Dean, Tarky, he's playing for Burnley, and Andre Gray, well, he just left, and big names, and Jota Peleteiro. So I went to the training ground, and I trained with these men.
Yeah.
Because and it was like, wow, this is football. And then my first appearance, I gave an assist, and then it all started like the game changer, and my family was in the crowd. So with 12,000 people, we used to play under 21s. We had maybe 200 people, 300 people, and then you're put in you are in a stadium playing football for 12,000 people at home. But the way when I made my debut at Leeds, there was like 35 or 40,000 people.
Wow.
And don't know, my first year here in Brentford, I will never forget it, because it was very special.
Ball over the top to Canos. Canos into the box here. This is promising. Sergi Canos on his left foot. Oh yes! Oh yes! Oh yes! Oh yes! What a goal from Sergi Canos! That is goal of the season. Into the box, over 2 or 3 players, on his left foot, beats Bond away to his right hand side. The Brentford fans ecstatic behind the goal.
Did that experience tell you that you were finished with under 21s football? Because you remember you want to play first team football.
Yeah. I knew I was finished with the under 21s football at the end of the year before.
Yeah.
And you still after that Brentford loan, you go back and make your Premier League debut for Liverpool on the last day of the season. So is that one of your biggest highlights of your career so far?
Yeah, it's one off. Yeah, I think playing, like making my debut for Liverpool in the Premier League, it's a big achievement. But there are a lot that do it. There are a lot of players that make their debut and nothing happens.
Yeah.
So it is a big achievement. Don't get me wrong, but it's like I don't wanna be one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, he made the debut and off. So I made my debut, and I was a little bit angry with Liverpool because they wanted to sell me, and I made my debut, and all of a sudden the price went from 1 million to 3 million. So it was like, so did I make my debut because I deserved it, or because you wanted money from me?
Yeah.
So,
and that comes back to a thing that we discuss a lot, and actually something I wrote down that you said about not being alone. We spoke to a lot of the lads, and their unhappiest times was when they didn't feel wanted.
Sometimes also the sad moments for me is when people like coaches or sporting directors, some people like that, they don't tell you the truth because you are a kid.
Yeah.
That was one of my sad moments, because you go home after a chat with the coach or the director, and they tell you they trust in you, you're gonna be in Melbourne the next week, or blah blah blah, and you never go to Melbourne, or you don't play on Saturday and you are on the bench and you don't come on. So why you tell me you trust, and you're saying I'm training so well and blah blah blah, and then on the weekend you don't even put me on the bench, or I don't even warm up. So those things also were, for me, were when I always wanted the truth. I think when we are kids like that, I think we deserve the truth.
Yeah.
But yeah, feeling unwanted when they don't tell you the truth, I think is basically the same.
Just a few months after his first team debut for Liverpool, Sergi joined Norwich City in a multi-million-pound deal. But things didn't go according to plan.
I think at Norwich was a very difficult one. I think I went to a club where, like, they worked so hard, and the trainings were different, and big players also in the team. Like, people, they just got relegated from Premier League and they wanted to get back straight away. When I signed for them, we had a chat because I didn't want to sign for anyone that I didn't know the coach, and we had a chat, and he said a lot of things that after were not true. So
it comes down to what you said about honesty then, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe also it was that I had to, I don't know, like maybe I wasn't ready at the beginning for what was coming, and then when I realized and I started training and playing well, but I only played 3 games and I scored 2 goals, so
no,
I'm okay with that. If he didn't want me to play, then it's his choice. When I always say football is about opinions, and he had one opinion in the summer, and then when he signed me, he had another opinion. So no problem.
Did you become quite frustrated quite quickly? Because I think you signed, was it a 5-year deal that you signed there?
Yeah.
So did you feel quite early on that you weren't going to stay?
I was frustrated, but I knew that I wanted to leave if he was the manager.
Okay.
Because there was the way I was training and the way I was performing in trainings with big names, with Wes Hullerland or Stephen Naismith. The way I was training and I was scoring goals and being one more, and I wasn't even making the squad, I wasn't worried, because my form and my numbers were there. So I knew if I leave in Christmas, or if I leave in summer, if he is the manager, I know I'm gonna go somewhere else and do well, because I know my abilities.
Were you okay going to training? What was your mental health like? How did you feel? Were you happy?
At the beginning, no. At the beginning, I was all over the place. I didn't know how to handle that situation, because I don't think you know how to handle. I'm better now handling those situations, because I realize that I have to enjoy football first, and then don't let anyone be in control of me. Because what happened at Norwich is that because of the manager's choices, I was in a bad mood and I was sad, and I didn't want to do anything with my family. I didn't want anyone to come and visit me at Norwich, because
Were you living alone in Norwich as well?
Yeah. And that was bad for me, because I don't have to let anyone. Well, you know that now, that through the years.
Yeah.
I wish I knew everything that I know now when I was 18.
Luckily, you're only 23.
Yeah, I'm only 23, thank God.
Well, this is the thing, every single one of you boys we've spoken to come across really mature at the age of 23, because what you pack into those years as a football player coming through those academies is more than, I'm 41 and I haven't lived the experiences that you boys have. So you pack it in at a really, really short period of time. When you found out that Brentford wanted you back?
Yeah,
I mean,
I was so happy.
Like a weight off.
Yeah, I was so happy. But also there was Scott Hogan was leaving to Aston Villa for a big amount of money, and Brentford said, if Scott doesn't leave, you can come in because we don't have the money, blah blah blah. So that is another. It was a very difficult situation, because I was waking up and going to train, knowing that I didn't want to stay, that the manager wanted me to leave because he told me, he said, if a good offer comes, then you can leave. I was involved in some trainings, and then he used to come and say, oh, you have to train with the under-23s now because blah, blah, blah. And then it was a very difficult situation. I was waking up and go to skysports.com or thinking of Scott Hogan, official Aston Villa. And I don't know, that was my dream, because when that happened, when I saw Scott Hogan leave for Aston Villa, I was like, oh my God. And I started packing and then straight to Brentford.
And presumably you must have taken, don't go into detail, but a little bit of a pay cut to go to Brentford?
Yeah.
It was about Brentford?
Yeah, it was. I didn't want money at that time at all. Like, even I wasn't worried about money, and I just wanted to play football because I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy at Norwich, and my life at Norwich also, I didn't like it. Not because of the city, or just because of the trainings and the way I was not enjoying football. So once the Brentford opportunity came, I didn't care about money. I felt wanted. Like, it was so important. Like, everyone texted me during that period of time on January, that the transfer window, saying, please choose Brentford, because I had Leeds also, but I wanted Brentford, and I was waiting. Yeah, I had Leeds at that time.
So that real shows how much you care for Brentford, because Leeds is a big club.
Yeah, but I wanted Brentford, and even with Leeds, I didn't have to take a pay cut, and they even were gonna increase my salary, but with Brentford there was something else. So
they already love you at Brentford, but they'll love you even more when
I'm just saying the truth. I at that time, seriously, I didn't think of money at all, because for me, it was happiness first than money. But yeah, obviously, maybe at the end of my career, if I don't if I need money, then I would say, oh, I regret not going to Leeds because but I'm so happy with the decision that I made.
And you've also seen like how the club's grown the last few years, and with the new stadium and things like that. I was at Brentford 10 years ago, and if you'd have told me when we were like in League Two, then League One, that Brentford would be on the cusp of the Premier League, and in that stadium,
it's mad.
It is mad. So you've seen. I think was your first loan there in 2015. So it would have been 5 years ago.
I think not 5 years ago. I think it was 4 years ago.
So you've probably still seen a massive difference in the club from when you first joined to now.
Well, when I first joined, I didn't see any. Well, from Liverpool to Brentford, obviously, there is a big difference. Now I see a big difference with the fan base. That is big, but then I think we will feel more difference when we move to the newer stadium.
Yeah. Can I ask you about injuries or your current injury, for example? I mean, what are you like when you're injured mentally, and how has this one been?
Well, my first big injury was when I came back to Brentford. I played 6 months, and then in pre-season, last game of pre-season, I got injured. Against Celta de Vigo, I think, and I did my ankle, like the 2 of the 3 ligaments.
Yeah.
And I was out for 6-7 weeks. Then I came back, and my first game back, I injured again, the same thing. So I was 3 months off, all in total, and I didn't handle I wasn't good with those injuries. I was a kid, I think 19 years old, and I was a kid. I didn't handle them well, but the one now, I'm being so good. Well, I don't want to say it too loud, but I think I've been really good, and really I've focused from day one. I cried the first day, and after the first day, I said, okay, look, end. Like the drama is done, focusing on the next thing, operation. And it was the physios, Greggy, Stobo, Matt, Liam, they helped me so much, because they did it in a way that I didn't feel it was long. Some parts, they were difficult, but we were ticking off things like, okay, first you have to be strong for the operation, and you have to go into the surgery walking. Okay, that tick off. Operation done, tick off. Then more things like starting on the bike, tick off. So that was, and now hopefully on Wednesday we've ticked all the boxes, and one more.
And when we as fans see players getting injured, it's just a little yellow thing at the bottom of Sky Sports. Sergi Canos will be out for 9 months. We don't think of the human reaction to it. And I like what you said about I cried the first time, because I don't think that we all cry at certain times, although as men sometimes we don't admit it. And something goes wrong in our jobs and our lives. And I do think, and I speak on behalf of myself rather than you two, is that as fans we don't think that it is your job, because as fans we can be very jealous of the fact that you're so skilled and you can play football for a living, but it's your job, it's your life, and the emotional impact of injuries is absolutely huge, and I don't think we think about that enough.
It's very difficult, because, well, I had some friends saying, like, in a jokey way, oh, now 9 months holidays. No, my friend, it's no holidays. I've worked hard at these 9 months than all my life.
Yeah.
I'm playing football every weekend, and it's like, well, you can take some time off. No, I can't. It's impossible. It's impossible, because if I don't do gym on Monday, or I leave the gym on Monday, then Tuesday or Wednesday, I feel so bad. And then to catch up again, only for one day, it's so difficult. And I know they see like, oh, it's you're playing football, it's your dream, it's that, but it also becomes a job. There are difficult times also, and it's not easy being on the sofa with with I think I had 22 stitches on my knee, watching your team losing or even winning, because losing and winning, it's also painful both ways.
Because you don't feel part of it, then, yeah.
Exactly. Because when I remember being on this sofa and watching them play against Luton, and they won 7-0, and it was an unbelievable game. I enjoyed so much. But then when I switched the telly off, I wasn't part of it.
You know that they're all in the changing room, and you're sat.
I'm on my own here, and I don't know. I'm gonna go to the training ground tomorrow, and yeah, everyone is gonna be happy. But today, I'm not part of it. For me, my dream, I think, is to enjoy, to come back and enjoy every day of football, because these 8 months have been so difficult.
Yeah, it will make you appreciate it more.
Yeah, and I am now. I appreciate more trainings. I appreciate more, like everything. And I've always been really good with this, because every time we won or I scored or we had a good day, I always thought, enjoy it, because you don't know tomorrow.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm happy with that.
Brilliant. Sergi, that's a great note to end it on and let you go.
No problem.
But just like every call we've had with every lad, I found this uplifting. I've enjoyed your company. I can't wait to record it, mate. Really.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure for me too.
Sergi is now back fully fit and playing regularly in the Championship for Brentford. He's also created history by scoring the first goals at Brentford's brand new stadium. He recently spoke to Brentford's media team about his return to action.
I'm just so thankful and grateful for all the messages that I got from all the fans, the support that I've got from my family and from my friends. I think without them, I wouldn't be where I am now, and I wouldn't have done so good on my rehab. Going into the pitch, I felt very nervous, because it was, I think, eight months after the surgery. I remember I had a chat with Thomas. He said, go and enjoy no matter what. Don't worry about the rest, just go and enjoy, because you have worked so hard for this. I think going into the new stadium, new era, new Brentford, scoring those first goals, it was emotional, and everyone knows how I feel about this club, how I care about this club, and I think for me and for my family it was a great moment, and a moment that we will never forget.
This is a good feeling. I mean, in a personal note, like it's been a hard year for me. Coming back from injury, and it's my first goals back with the team, and I'm really happy. It's only the start. This injury, it's been a good part of my life, and I learned a lot, and I'm ready to go again.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Football Journeys, and thank you to all those who supported us. Do come and find us on social media @JourneysPod on both Twitter and Instagram, where we'll be sharing more content. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us on footballjourneys@b5consultancy.com or visit our webpage b5consultancy.com/footballjourneys.
This podcast is produced by B5 Consultancy alongside Ricky Valentine, who himself had an academy journey with me at Brentford FC. Special thanks goes to the Hope Street Hotel for their hospitality and Liverpool FC for supplying some of their archive footage.
Lastly, thanks to the lads for telling their stories, and to the contributors who gave up their time to share their memories of the lads. Please do like and subscribe. If you feel we deserve a 5-star rating, then please give us one. The more successful this podcast is, the better chance we have of producing more episodes and further series.